Hey y'all, it's Anna V, and you, my friend, are listening to the All American Wingshooting Podcast. I am a hunter, conservationist, mom of 2 girls I have raised in the outdoors, and a proud owner of a truck full of dogs. My passion is guiding you to confidence, sharing in tradition, and celebrating the true meaning of success in the field. Here we go. Thank you for joining us. Another episode of All American Wingshooting Podcast. This is our monthly chat with Lee down at Mossy Pond. Lee, welcome back.
Thank you.
So I want the update, the Mossy Pond update. We all like to hear it.
Well, you want the Lils update?
Well, yeah, but you guys are slammed too. Like, I'm super excited to hear about what's going on because you have 2 lodges.
We are, yep.
Right, and they're always full.
Everything's in full gear right now. All the hunting, everybody's the duck hunts, the quail, pheasant, everything is in full gear right now. Really busy holiday season. And then hasn't slowed down really much after the holidays. So we're still in full gear and will be for the next 2.5 months. So
how did the pheasant hunts go this year? Because we both love those so much, and that's kind of a new thing down there.
It is, and they are really, really good. They're such a blast. Everybody that goes on them really, really enjoys them. The natural feel of it, I guess. You know, the birds are mass released, and so when you're out there working, it's not a planted bird. We don't know where they are as guides. Dogs are out there doing what dogs do and have defined birds and flush birds. So everybody really, really enjoys those and has a lot of fun with those. So, you know, we did a big mass release of chukars. So
I love a chukar.
As you're out there on the pheasant hunt, you're liable to, get on some chukars too. So people have really enjoyed them. And
that's so cool. Well, pheasants are fun because they'll all huddle together, and you never know if you're going to hit a single or if you're going to hit like 15.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, they are. Yeah. And it always seems like the big group, everybody gets away.
It just stuns you and everybody can pull the trigger.
Big covey, it's like a big quail covey flush. You don't, seems like people can't pick out a single bird to shoot, so they just go to shooting and they never hit anything. But they are a lot of fun. We've had a good time with that.
So what Mossy Pond dog has become your favorite pheasant dog? That's a new reputation to uphold down there.
We've had several that have done really, really good. That quartering and flushing, with a dog that has a good prey drive, that's something they really get into and do really, really well. And so the ones we've been hunting and the ones we've been using, they've all done really well with it.
Is anybody saying, I got to come back to see a certain dog, or are they still claiming a certain guide?
No, not really. There's a couple of dogs out there that have become favorites, but I think it's, I think those dogs are linked with the guides. And, so yeah. I think it's a combo deal. They want the guide and the dog. And, a lot of, we've had quite a few clients that have come in. We've taken their dogs on their first, field pheasant hunt, and the dogs seem to pick it up really quickly and really enjoyed it. And, hey, they want to come back and do it with their personal dogs, over and over. So that's a good thing.
It is really fun to watch people that enjoy that for the first time and get connected with a certain dog. Like,
yeah,
even when it's not their dog, to just find the dog that speaks the same language.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we discussed on our last episode that this one we were going to hit the topics of first aid.
Yep.
And for people that are just getting their dog and they're just getting out into public ground or taking that new level of responsibility, let's discuss what we should have first aid wise in our truck versus in our pack. Like, what should we have in the field? These signs of distress that we should look for instead of instead of waiting until, man, I think my dog's acting funny, but I'm not really sure. And then you're out there in the middle of the field, no service, and it's you with your dog, and you've brought a buddy that wanted to go with you because you got a dog. And then you kind of feel helpless. So I just want to give people some more confidence about being in the field and being a dog owner.
Yeah, big thing you always want to look at, and it's definitely temperature related. You know, the warmer it is, dogs are the first thing that comes to mind. Big thing, always make sure you have water accessible for your dogs. I know when we're quail hunting, when we're pheasant hunting here, all the guides have, you know, squirt bottles in their vest, ready, you know, full of water for, you know, when their dog come by them, they stop them, squirt them down with some water, and, you know, give them some water in their mouth, make sure they stay hydrated. That's the biggest thing is, you know, the accessibility of water. Make sure you always have it, you know, for the dog on hand, and make sure they stay hydrated. Things to look for from your dog, of course, heavy breathing, a big, wide, fat tongue. When that tongue expands for a dog, that's how they cool off. The fatter and wider that tongue gets, the hotter they are, the more they're trying to cool themselves off. But when you see that, that's when you need to take a break, get him some water, cool him off. If you have a little bit of keep a little rubbing alcohol somewhere close by, rub it on the pads of their feet, inside their ears, on their belly, you know, anywhere where the skin's exposed, to help cool them. And so that's always something to have the good on hand, you know, on your wagons, in your truck, as a cooling mechanism for the dog. It just evaporates quickly. It helps that dog cool a little quicker.
Wow, that is a cool little trick. Is that like a South Georgia remedy? I've not heard that one before.
Probably so. Everybody, you know, most every dog trainer in the South, you know, has a big jug of alcohol to help with that, cool off those dogs that are getting too hot. But yeah, the big thing is water. If you got a body of water close by, make sure they have the opportunity to get in it, stay cool. Don't ever let them get to that point.
Okay, what about cuts? What about a stick? You know, a puncture wound.
Puncture wounds can be tricky, and depending on where they are, you see a lot of, you know, especially in your duck hunting dogs, hunting flooded fields, stubble, where there's rice stubble, bean stubble, stuff like that. You see puncture wounds, and if you aren't really, really paying close attention, you won't notice it. Dogs, they don't show it. If the dog is showing signs of pain, it is severe. It's hurting really, really bad. A little small puncture.
Dogs with these drives, they're not gonna let you know until the hunt's over.
They're not gonna quit during the hunt while the action's going on, though. So always keep a close eye on your dog's paws for those puncture wounds. What I like to do is have a squirt, you know, have a bottle of some type, even if it's just a water bottle. You poke the hole in the top of it so you can squirt it with some pressure, and flush them out really good. After you get them flushed out really good, you know, then you assess how deep is it, how wide is it, how bad is it really. On the feet, unless it's a real bad puncture wound, there's not a lot you can do. Rest is a big thing. Make sure it stays clean. It's a big thing. You clean it just like you would a cut on your own self, you know, with peroxide, alcohol, and keep it cleaned out real good so the infection don't come in. I tell people, you know, if possible, talk to your vets, go by your vets, tell them you got a puncture wound, let them take a look at it if they want to. Put them on some antibiotics, maybe as a preventative, so they don't get infected. That's when your trouble starts. If you let it get nasty and stay nasty and don't keep it cleaned out and it gets infected, that's when you're going to have issues. But keeping it clean really, really well. Just normal antibiotic cream if you want to apply to that. But big thing is keeping it clean, and keeping it flushed out so there's no debris in it. So when it does heal up, it's not healing over a bunch of dirt and nastiness.
Yeah, so they can't lick it too, like keep it wrapped.
Yeah. A lot of dogs, when you're wrapping you're wrapping, keeping it wrapped like that, you got to watch them. I know some dogs that makes it worse, that makes them gnawing it worse when they're wrapped up. So you kind of got to know your dog and watch your dog.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, some chewing on it really bad. Take the wrapping off and see how they do there. I know, I've seen dogs before that you leave it unwrapped, they'll leave it alone more so than if you wrap it. So kind of watch your dog and see how they respond.
Okay, let's talk about another topic that people don't really discuss on the road, but it's become pretty popular with all of us that live on the highway during hunting season. Is, I won't name names, but there's certain stops that are pretty popular along the way that have like a dog park. And I'm like, cringe at dog parks and the germs and parasites that dogs can pick up. Then they end up with a heck of a mess in the dog box, dehydration, things that have to be treated through a vet if you're not prepared, with your pharmacy, your traveling pharmacy. So let's talk about how like stagnant water, and then just, I guess, the parasites you can pick up from other dogs that aren't taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned, the little dog parks and stuff at certain truck stops and things like that. They are easy. You can throw your dog in there. You don't have to be worried about him run through the parking lot and stuff. Big thing, if you're going to do that, make sure you are up to date with everything that you're supposed to be doing. You've had your flea and tick medications. You've been through your deworming process, and make sure all the monthly meds that you get from a deworming standpoint have been given like they're supposed to. Make sure you're up to date on all your shots, in your yearly shots that you should be getting, those boosters. That's the first and foremost what you should be doing anyway, no matter where you're stopping, where you're going. Is make sure all those things are done to help prevent any of that stuff that we can. I personally don't like to use those things for that reason. They can be gross. They can be, you don't know who's been there, what dog's been there. It's not much different, in my opinion, than me going to a bathroom in those situations. I'm not a big fan of it. I do try to find somewhere a little more private, a little less trafficy when I stop, to let them out use the bathroom. Big things I do look for, like you mentioned, stagnant water, any waters that are, ditches that are filled with water. When you get off the highways, you stop at the truck stops and different places like that, you're going to find a lot of drainage off of the parking lots and stuff like that. Trying to stay away from those areas and don't let them get in that stagnant water and catch the things that that stagnant water carries.
Got any others that I just treat them like my kids. So I end up with like, don't eat that. Don't touch that. Don't go there.
Yes, you just got to be aware of where you are and keep an eye on them. Big thing, don't take your eyes off of them. If you're watching them like a hog, then you ought to be pretty good and prevent any of that nastiness from going on.
All right. I know, because you're rocking a Eukanuba shirt right now. Believe in Eukanuba for nutrition.
I do. Absolutely.
Having a quality food, of course, increases everything good, right? Like more stable weight, more consistent weight, more energy. You actually get to feed less amount of food when you have a higher quality. There's a lot of pros and cons, but specifically, what is in Eukanuba that makes you say, like, this is the dog food for us?
Specific ingredients. I want, I don't think there's anything specific ingredient wise that I could go over to explain it. The science behind what they're doing and the combination of ingredients, I think is the big factor there. They do a lot of research. They do a lot of field testing, and testing their products, from the energy standpoint to a body temperature standpoint, weight maintenance standpoint. There's a lot of research that goes into Eukanuba's dog foods, and they offer those studies out to people that want to see them or read about them and know about them and know how they've been done. They offer those out so people can learn about it. But they do a lot of research, a lot of field testing. When I say field testing, they put dogs on their dog food, and they go out and they test it. You know, they run them for certain amounts of time to see how much, if there's weight loss in that amount of time, if there's increased body temperature in that amount of time, how quickly their body temperature goes back to their normal resting temperature. Heart rates go back to resting heart rates. All these things they research and do a lot of testing on, so that they are putting out a quality food that it's going to be right by the dog. I think they do a phenomenal job of that, and that's what that's why we are with Eukanuba. A lot of success in our program, feeding Eukanuba, not just from a winning standpoint, the passing standpoint, but overall health standpoint. Rarely have any dogs that that it doesn't agree with. So as far as feeding, I think at this point in time right now, I don't know of a single dog in our kennel that's not on Eukanuba, which with the amount of dogs we're feeding is a rarity, because you always have one or two that's not going to, it's not going to go well for them. They don't agree with their stomachs and stuff like that. As of today, right now, there's not a single dog that we're not feeding. And it's doing fine for everybody.
You know, before I joined the TFL team, I wasn't feeding Eukanuba, but it was something that I took pride in to make sure that I was investing in a dog food company that invested in our industry. And so before then, like, of course, we know that if they're investing in our industry, then they actually genuinely care about the sporting dog, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that was just kind of like my mentality of that before I went to Eukanuba. And then when I joined the team, I was just like, okay, we'll just switch dog food. And I just literally didn't think two things about it. And my dogs looked good. I take pride in hunting with good looking dogs. Well, I couldn't believe it. Just within a week, I mean, it was 7 to 10 days. They looked even better.
Mm.
And I was like, the only thing in our life that has changed is the feeding program. And it was coat. It was like they just toned up and just looked sexier. I don't even know how to put it. Like they just looked good. And it was a noticeable thing that I was like, wow, this matters. This matters so much more than we really talk about.
I had a client call yesterday, asked me what the shampoo was that we used.
Oh, I want to know that too. I've asked Hannah
to wash his dog before when he picked him up the other day. And I said, well, I said, there's something wrong. He said, no. He said, she looked amazing. Her hair was shiny and thing. I was like, well, that does have to do with the cleanliness, but the dog food giving that good quality coat, those nutrients behind the good skin and good coat. That's why we're able to wash the dog and it looked that way. So that was a good pitch for Eukanuba that I gave that gentleman. As he was going home and out the door was, he was thinking it was all the shampoo that why his dog how he looked that way.
You can tell, like, did you just pet an axle?
Yeah.
And that's all he's ever been fed is Eukanuba.
Mm-hmm.
And his coat is thick and fluffy.
Yep. It's healthy.
Yeah, it's special. It feels special. Well, with feeding Eukanuba, with these working dogs, because dogs that come to your kennel sometimes live there for years because their purpose is to obtain the highest level of achievement.
Yep.
So they may just go home for a small season to go visit the family, take a little rest, and they're back on the road doing their job.
Yep.
And during those times, are there supplements that you guys are using that you see works really well with that you pair with them, whether it be, something for joints or a hydration supplement or anything like that? I mean, of course, we're always putting water in our food to make sure that especially on working days that dogs are getting enough water. But what other tricks of the trade do you guys recommend?
I don't use any supplements until dogs get a little older. Now, when they start getting a little older, and when I say a little older in the dog, where I'm talking 5, 6, 7 years old and older, that's when I start doing the supplements, as far as joint supplements and things like that. And the joint supplements, the biggest one I use, we use Mogoflex. That's what we tend to use. It seems to be a good joint supplement that has worked well for our dogs. But we don't use a lot of supplements in addition to just a normal feeding regimen of dog food, especially not with our younger dogs. So I hadn't seen it necessary or I need to do it.
So in the horse world, because we were in it real probably deeper than I really want to, looking back on it now, I think, man, all the cool things I could have done with dogs with the horse money, right? We had to have the chiropractor there and all the things. Like, we did all the things. Not only was the chiropractor working on the horse, the chiropractor was working on us as riders and all that stuff. So is that something that's gonna take hold, I think, with the sporting dog, is red light therapy and all this stuff? Do you see where that could fall into having longevity or keeping a dog in tip-top shape for a longer period of time?
I think it might take hold, and I think it has taken hold in some aspects of the game, and with some people. So yeah, I think it is something that you might possibly start seeing a little more and more of, is the chiropractic and laser
What
therapy.
a cool job that would be. Just drive around in your truck, go kennel to kennel, and make sure dogs are aligned and like at their peak performance.
Yeah, exactly.
What other special tricks of the trade do you think that people should be aware of?
There's not a lot of tricks, really. It's putting the time into the dogs and getting to know your dogs. Big thing is getting to know them. Better you know that dog can kind of read what it's going to do, certain situations and certain times. Even from we are talking about airing on the road, traveling. The better you know your dog, the more the more like
Look out for it.
He's gonna, when he gets out, is he going to go check out that nasty piece of water over there, or is there a piece of trash around that he's going to pick up? If you know your dog well, those are things that you can be looking for and be to prevent. When you're hunting your dog, if you know your dog loves going to old fall areas, well, and it's time to pick up that blind retriever, pick up that third or fourth bird that you knocked down in that sequence, that he's going to probably try to go back to the old fall area. You'd be prepared on lining him up or getting ready to stop him and cast him, things like that. So knowing your dog, spending time with them, that's a big factor, and could help prevent a lot of things, from health issues to hunting mishaps.
Okay, well, we know that people food is typically bad for the dogs, like table scraps. Okay, I know there's some people that are sold out to feed and raw, and I commend those people that really take things to that high of a level. But because I don't even do that for myself, right? This girl, I'll tell you, with my trainer, he tells me every single week, if I give up Chick-fil-A, I'd achieve my goals. But I am so addicted to Chick-fil-A. That's probably my biggest problem, my biggest addiction that I can't turn away from. And I've like lowered it to where it's once a month. But when I go on the road and I'm out west and there's no Chick-fil-A, the first thing I do when I come home is like, I got to have me a number one. And it's simple. It's just like, I just got to have Chick-fil-A. And if you're not from the South and you think I'm crazy, everybody down here is addicted to it, whether they're going to admit it or not. Like, if you say Chick-fil-A ain't the hype, you're lying. Like, you're literally just not admitting how many times you're going through there during your lunch work break.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason you don't, because the line's too long.
Exactly. But man, they're so fast, and you know that your order is going to be right.
Give him with a smile.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's my like guilty pleasure. So with the dogs, like people treat them like their pets and they're like their family, you know, like their little kids. So there's a lot of people that just want to say, hey, look, I feel good giving my dog a little treat. My mom's got this Aussie. Lord help her. We finally got her down 15 pounds because if that dog goes outside, I think, you know, she's got that big fluffy hair. She's one of the show breeds.
Yeah.
I think she fakes going to pee just so she can run inside and get a treat.
And
I'm convinced that dog is faking it
you know,
because she knows Grammy Papa is going to give her a piece of that dried chicken straight from Sam's Club that my mama buys in the big box when she has one dog.
Yeah. No.
You know, so what can people do to feel like they're doing something special for their dog that's good?
I don't mind treats. I don't mind them at all. What you've got to look at, talking about weight gaining and weight issues with dogs, is you got to look at the amount of calories that you're giving them. It's no different than me and you. A lot of the treats that people want to give, first thing they do is they give too many. And the second thing they do, they don't realize the amount of calories that are in that one treat. There's a bunch of them out there that if you were to give that dog 2 treats a day, you've given him almost entire caloric intake of a normal feeding of food.
Really? Like this, just like a little bitty bite-sized chew?
Small ones, not the little small ones, but when you get some of the larger treats, some of your larger bones and chewable bones and things like that. Yeah, they're really high in calories. Same thing with people food. You start giving them, people food, and you compare the calories in that people food that's in their dog food and what their bodies should have in a day. It's a huge difference. And you got to look at their exercise and everything else, how much you're able to actually exercise when you're talking about that. I don't mind giving treats. I treat my dog like she's.
I was about to say, I have caught Carter spoiling Axel way more than he gets spoiled at home.
Yeah,
and he called me out. He told me to chill.
We do that, and it's nothing that it's not a bad thing at all to love on them and to give them the treats and stuff like that. You just got to make sure it's in moderation and they're getting the proper amount of exercise so they don't start looking like me.
Okay, so what's the truth about the rawhides? Pros and cons.
I'm not a big fan of rawhides. I honestly don't know the big study behind them. Are they digestible? Are they not digestible? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a big fan of them simply because I don't like to give dogs things that are chewy. Too chew.
Like pig ears? Because a lot of people like giving those pig ears.
Yep, they do. And I'm not a big fan of it because it encourages chewing. Especially with little puppies, older dogs that have learned the difference between, working and playing, it's not as big a deal. But for puppies and young dogs that can't differentiate between that pig ear and that quail, that's what I don't like about the rawhide chews and stuff like that. It just encourages the chewing. They're not going to differentiate between that rawhide and your tennis shoes or your boots or your leather bag or whatever it might be. So I'm not a big fan of chew toys in general.
Oh, I got the short hairs in the house and they are so needy. I've had one in my lap every podcast I've had today. She just slimed me big time. Oh.
Wants to go outside and play.
She does. She really does. She cracks me up. We have this, we live in a old golf course clubhouse and it has not been completely remodeled. And so there's a section on one side of the living room that's got to step up where the bar is. That mercy. I swear the short hairs have a unique personality, y'all have a few of them down there, don't you? She was half on the back side, she was on the high half, and the front side, she was on the low half, and she had just made me bonkers this morning. And that storm was blowing through, and it was pouring rain, and the wind was blowing sideways, and I was like, you got to chill out and place yourself, I just kind of yelled at her like, sit. And she sat down, her butt on the high side and her legs on the low side. And I was like, just lay down. I just can't take no more to lay down. Like, she could have laid on the couch. She could have laid in her chair. She could have been laying in my bed for all I care, but she was getting on my last nerve. That crazy dog lays half on the high step, half on the low step, and gives me the side eye. And I'm like, don't you even cuss me. It's been a mess. I looked at Tater and I said, I mean, they canceled school. Weather was supposed to be so bad up here. I told her, I need my littles back. These short hairs are going to make me crazy.
Speaking of her, she's doing really well. Transitioning the blind work into the field some, mixing in with the marks and the setups, and she's doing good. She's doing good. Every now and then still have flashbacks of quartering and hunting, and she'll want to make that straight line she's supposed to be running a little crooked, but she's doing pretty good.
Well, I don't want it to all go away, but I'm sure like she'll learn the difference.
It won't for sure. It won't, but she's doing well. She is doing well.
Well, I'm excited. We have big things coming, but talking about Mercy, the short hair up here, she gets treats all the time. And she was my first dog, and she was the dog that I spoiled. And I am guilty of sharing my steak with her and stuff because she's the only dog that I have. Don't give me that eye. Look at me like I'm bad. She's taking care of me. I mean, I wouldn't be here today without this crazy short hair, but I can literally, and I do this every once on my Instagram stories. Somebody else texts me and say, hey, will you post a picture of Mercy and her tricks? I could put a ribeye in that dog's mouth and tell her to hold it. And she's going to look at me with those, like, she's black. She's solid black eyes. I mean, you put something in her mouth and like that, and you see white in her eye, just begging for you to tell her to eat it. So she gets on my nerves sometimes in the house, but I love rolling through the field with her. She's got a motor. So I'm guilty. I'm one of those people. When I say I'm asking for a friend, sometimes that friend, I'm just asking for myself. Give me a pass to spoil my little girl.
I don't mind them spoiling them. I do the same thing. I spoil them too. So
yeah. And I'm sorry, what?
They deserve it.
I agree. I think they do too. I mean, Taterbug's been sick and her dog has literally been Velcroed to her. And it's so sweet to watch them play such a big part in our lives. We want to take the best care we can. We've got to be educated about it. And I feel like when we get so much time with the dogs and with the pros, with nutrition, and like you as a trainer, like we need to share that information with people that don't have the opportunity to spend as much time and learn things or save people from learning the hard way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, I just wanted to kind of clear all these things up, give people a pass. Don't make people feel guilty for wanting to treat their dog. I do know that Eukanuba makes some really good treats because I have given them to my mama to give to her fluffy dog.
They do. And those are from a nutrition standpoint are been researched and looked at and are not bad for the dog. Just like everything else in moderation. So they do make a good one.
Well, I know you got to get back to training. The sun's finally come out up here.
We're clearing out too. So, finally we had an afternoon of it but it's clearing out now. And I've got a handful more dogs. We need to go get some more work done.
Yeah. I looked at the weather last night and it seemed like from Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Illinois, over to Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi's in between. That entire stretch of states was completely covered by one storm cell.
It was.
How?
One place. I don't know, but it ranged a long ways. It's passed, and
it's not. I haven't seen anybody's kennels torn up or anything like that online. But man, you get nervous when you see things like that.
Oh yeah,
news
for sure.
Well, thank you for all of your advice. We got nutrition out of the way. Everybody's feeling good about being safe with their dog in the field. And I would also to add, when you're in new spots, just Google the closest vets to where you are. Just go on and be prepared, because in those moments where things happen, I've been in South Dakota when a friend of mine's dog overheated, and sometimes like you can't prevent it. Sometimes it just hits them.
Yeah.
And there was a 45-minute drive there and the dog didn't make it. And, it's really sad, but to not have to figure things out when you just need some answers is really probably the best advice.
Exactly. Your basic stuff that you always have on hand, your alcohol, your peroxide, bandages, those basic things from wound standpoint, is about all you can do as an individual. But knowing where your vets are, how to get in touch with them, that's very important. Knowing the terrain you're on. I know when we go to a new piece of property and train, we always walk that property. I'm looking for holes. I'm looking for stumps. I'm looking for,
buried barbed wire fences is the toughest thing when you're in the Dakotas and that CRP, or even in the Midwest, that CRP is high and those dogs are just jumping through there, and then all of a sudden there's the buried fence and nobody saw it, and you got to cut up dog real fast.
Exactly. So knowing your terrain, being prepared from that standpoint, very important too. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. We enjoy hearing from you on a monthly basis down at Mossy Pond. All the updates that's going on down there. If you haven't visited Mossy Pond this season, rally up the troops. You guys can go down there, experience the flooded timber, get your dog out for the first time, need pointers on your dog. That's a place to go. Killer shooting range. You want to duck hunt in the morning, then quail hunt in the afternoon, spend your evenings by the fire pit. That's the perfect place to be.
Absolutely.
The dawn's finally breaking as I leave this sleepy town. The sun is slowly rising and the fog is on the ground.